you live from our Auckland Park studios. This is Prime News on SABC 3. Here's what's dominating in your leads at this hour. First up, the scholar transport driver who was involved in the deadly Vaal accident now faces 14 charges of murder and 3 counts of attempted murder.
So blue lights happens before you meet Mr. Matala?
No, it happens after.
Yes.
No, blue lights happened before.
Before you met him?
Yes.
The suspended Greenland Metro Deputy Chief, Julius Mkhwanazi, has described the allegations that he fitted blue lights in the vehicle of alleged criminal kingpin Vusimuzi Kat Matlala as character assassination. And Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lusufi says that his province will avail its best resources to tackle the challenges faced by residents of the Sporong informal settlement in Randfontein. We bring you the biggest stories right here on Prime News on SABC 3. A big welcome to you all and thank you for tuning in. My name is Beki Mutuomolete and I will be taking you through the day's top stories that continue to define the world that we live in. Let's get straight into your leads. We launch with this. A 22-year-old Ayanda Dludla, the scholar transport driver who was involved in the deadly Vaal accident, now faces 14 charges of murder and 3 counts of attempted murder, an amendment from the initial charges of culpable homicide. Dludla made his first appearance at the Vaal Magistrates Court on Thursday earlier today.
Just moments before Ayanda Dludla entered the dock for the first time since his arrest, the public learned of the deaths of 2 more learners from that tragic scholar transport accident. This meant that Dludla, also known as Biggie, now faces 14 counts of murder.
You've been charged with 14 counts then of murder, 3 counts of attempted murder, 1 count of operating a motor vehicle without a certificate of fitness, 1 count of driving without a professional driving permit, 1 count of driving an unlicensed motor vehicle.
Dludla was initially charged with 12 counts of culpable homicide upon his discharge from hospital on Tuesday. However, the National Prosecuting Authority has now amended those charges to Schedule 5 murder.
When the state perused the docket and the evidence that was in the docket, we found that we had prima facie evidence to charge the accused with the charge of murder.
In a packed courtroom, emotionally charged scenes unfolded as family members reacted, while the 22-year-old informed the court that he would abandon his bail application. Despite his arrest and the seriousness of the charges, the families, who are still grieving, say no amount of justice will return their children.
To all owners, do some introspection in your vehicles and make sure that your vehicles are roadworthy, because we can't be having such.
Other charges faced by Dludla include reckless and negligent driving, driving without a valid professional permit, operating an unlicensed motor vehicle, and operating a motor vehicle without a certificate of fitness. While he remains in custody, the deceased will be remembered at a memorial service on Friday. Lopang Alamu, SABC News, Vaal Park.
Meanwhile, some private scholar transport drivers operating in and around Lenasia, south of Johannesburg, have taken a decision to withdraw their services on Friday. The drivers say that they will not be collecting or dropping off learners after the Transport Department embarked on an unannounced blitz and impounded some unroadworthy minibus taxis following the scholar transport accident. But Transport Minister Barbara Creasy says that they will continue to intensify law enforcement operations.
Today's operation carried out by the National Traffic Department is intended to target what we call private scholar transport vehicles. So these are not vehicles that are procured by the Department of Education for scholar transport, but they are vehicles that parents themselves have procured so that their children can reach different schools. Now, it's important to share with you that this operation has so far impounded 30 vehicles, and these vehicles have been impounded mainly because they are not roadworthy, but also because they do not meet the basic requirements in the existing law.
The suspended Ekurhuleni Metro Deputy Chief, Julius Mkhwanazi, has described the allegations that he fitted blue lights in the vehicle of alleged criminal kingpin Vusumuzi Matlala as character assassination. Mkhwanazi was testifying before the ad hoc committee investigating allegations of criminal infiltration, corruption and political interference in the criminal justice system. He refuted these claims, saying that he does not have the power to approve blue lights.
Blue light was never a pen. No,
The only plan was the donation.
Yes, to receive the vehicles.
Okay. May I now take you?
And I must mention that I raised it many times, Chair and Advocate, that show me the photos of these 4 vehicles, show me where you stopped them, show me where you got blue lights. Because this story was on Instagram, and within our media team. Somebody was making notes. They were calling me blue light blesser in each and every article. And I don't even have powers to put blue lights. It's only the minister that is having those powers. In stage, it's a process of registration of vehicle. That's where it starts, you see. Because once you donate, those vehicles must be registered to the person or must be given to the person. But Chris said we can't get them, we can't receive them physically. Let's finalize the process, the paperwork first, so that they belong to the city. Then when they belong to the city, that's where you can take them.
Let's turn our attention to the following. The Minister of Forestry, Fisheries and Environment, Willie Okamp, says that the earliest estimates indicate damage to the Kruger National Park due to flooding is at a tune of R500 million. He was updating the media in Parliament on the devastating impact of the floods on the Kruger National Park.
Authorities say the cost to recover South Africa's flagship park is going to be expensive. This follows a trail of destruction caused by the floods to bridges and roads, as well as water and electrical infrastructure. Staff villages and tourist accommodation have also been affected, and more than a dozen camps remain closed, while others are inaccessible. Hundreds of people had to be evacuated by road. Others were airlifted by helicopters.
Mammoth evacuation effort that SANParks has undertaken. Not one single life has been lost. In actual fact, not even one single person got injured, and I think we really got to commend SANParks for that. There was a large number of people that were evacuated. SANParks assisted in evacuating people with their own vehicles early and in time for them to be able to do that. They escorted them out. The damage to critical infrastructure is so widespread that SANParks' earliest estimates are that the damage will be in excess of R500 million.
The minister says there is no doubt that the park faces immediate to medium-term revenue loss, adding that the damage caused is going to impact on the sustainability of the entire network of parks as it generates close to 80% of its budget. Lula Mamatya, SABC News, Parliament.
After the break, Gauteng Premier says that his province will avail its best resources to tackle challenges faced by the residents of Sporong informal settlement in Randfontein. We bring you this and more when we return. Welcome back to Prime News on 3. Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lesufi says that his province will avail its best resources to tackle challenges faced by the residents of Sporong informal settlement in Randfontein. Hundreds of residents were forced to flee their homes and sought refuge at a community hall after being terrorized by illegal miners, commonly referred to as zamazamas.
Senior Gauteng government officials, including Premier Panyaza Lesufi, descended on Randfontein in the West Rand to engage with vulnerable residents who alleged that they suffered violence and intimidation at the hands of illegal miners since last year.
I asked the provincial commissioner, bring your best team that can take on these people that are terrorizing. And I'm glad that the PC has done that. I've seen the team, you've seen them. We've been on site, so the team will be stationed there.
The emotional and vulnerable residents begged the Premier to provide shelter for them. He says what he is just requesting from the Premier of the province is a house. His child does not know where he stays. MEC responsible for human settlements in Gauteng, Tasnim Mutara, promised that those who have to seek refuge at a cramped local community hall will be relocated within the next 7 days.
In 7 days, we must relocate them from this facility, this hall. That will take various forms. Others that qualify, that have got allocations, we will administer them to be able to allocate them.
Police say they have made inroads on issues related to illegal miners in Western area.
We will, of course, be on the ground in this space. We have been on the ground in this space, but we'll just ensure that we reinforce.
Calvin Lula, SABC News, Randfontein.
Negotiations are back on the table for South Africa's steel giant. Now, after a tense standoff last year, ArcelorMittal South Africa and the Industrial Development Corporation have officially resumed talks regarding a potential state-led buyout. Discussions hit a wall last year after AMSA rejected an 8.5 billion rand offer, citing disagreements over valuation and strategic positioning. The IDC says that this renewed push is part of a fresh state drive to safeguard critical industrial capacity. SABC News understands that several companies have now expressed interest in supporting the IDC's acquisition to provide the financial support needed to bridge the previous valuation gap. There are growing concerns that without a deal, the stability of the entire South African steel sector remains at risk.
The Industrial Development Corporation has taken note of ArcelorMittal's latest further cautionary announcement. It affirms that the IDC remains in ongoing discussion with the company, the ArcelorMittal Group, government partners including the DTIC, to find a lasting solution to the steelmakers' current difficulties and protect South Africa's vital steel manufacturing capability.
We now move on to this. Eastern Cape Police have confirmed that the alleged shooter at a school in Tabankulu has been declared dead at the scene. This as they investigate a fatal shooting of a teacher that occurred earlier today at Tabankulu Primary School, where 2 other teachers were also injured in the incident. Police spokesperson Nobuntu Gantana says that the reports indicate that a former teacher of the school who was out on bail for sexual assault charges involving learners forcibly gained entry onto the premises by cutting through the perimeter fence.
The suspect proceeded directly to the school kitchen where he opened fire on 3 educators. Following this, the suspect shot and killed himself. 1 educator was declared deceased at the scene. 2 other educators sustained injuries and are currently receiving medical treatment. The suspect was also declared deceased at the scene. A full investigation into the circumstances of the attack is underway, including the suspect's breach of bail conditions. The scene has been cordoned off for processing by forensic experts.
Thank you for staying with us. U.S. President Donald Trump ruled out military force to acquire Greenland during his speech at the World Economic Forum's annual meeting in Davos, Switzerland. Trump called for urgent negotiations on a U.S. acquisition of the territory, framing it as vital national and international security interest. While NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte welcomed the stance, others have emphasized Greenland's sovereignty.
U.S. President Donald Trump took to the podium following a worldwide journey to Davos, Switzerland, where the 56th Annual World Economic Forum is currently underway. In a wide-ranging speech covering his administration's economic achievements and his plans for Venezuela, Trump highlighted ruling out military force and halting tariffs on European critics of his Greenland intentions, prioritizing security.
You know, when I see what's happening with Greenland, I wonder, because I want Greenland for security. I don't want it for anything else. We have so much rare earth. We don't know what to do with it. We don't need it for anything else.
NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte emphasized protecting the Arctic.
And when it comes to the Arctic, I think President Trump is right. Other leaders in NATO are right. We need to defend the Arctic. We know that these sea lanes are opening up. We know that China and Russia are increasingly active in the Arctic. There are 8 countries bordering on the Arctic. 7 are a member of NATO.
While some have welcomed Trump's announcement, others have not been as receptive, with European Commissioner President Ursula von der Leyen emphasizing the sovereignty of Greenlanders.
Greenland is home to a free and sovereign people. It is a nation with its sovereignty and its right to territorial integrity, and the future of Greenland is only for the Greenlanders to decide.
Bonolo Maribe, SABC News.
It is now time for us to take a look at your latest market snapshot, reflecting the day's trading activity as recorded at 7:30 this evening. From morning sunshine to evening sun rays, our weather experts have got you covered. Your forecast is coming up next.
Good evening to you. Let's take a look at all your weather details. Partly cloudy skies in the Western Cape this evening with some isolated showers on the south coast of that province. Otherwise, isolated showers in the forecast for the KwaZulu-Natal coastline. Be on the lookout for an increase in wind speeds along that east coast of South Africa in towards the Eastern Cape, and isolated showers through the central parts and the Northern Cape this evening. Some scattered rainfall in the forecast in the northern parts of our country, and head towards tomorrow. The start of the weekend brings with it some isolated showers to the northeast and eastern coastline of South Africa, whilst partly cloudy conditions are expected in the Free State. Sunny skies through the Northern Cape tomorrow, whilst in the Western Cape, again partly cloudy conditions with some light rainfall on the south coast of the country. Ahead towards alerts for this evening, be on the lookout for the potential of disruptive rainfall in the northern parts of South Africa, severe thunderstorms through the interior of KwaZulu-Natal, as well as windy conditions along the KwaZulu-Natal coastline. Ahead towards tomorrow, and it continues to be windy along the KZN coastline. It'll be dry and potentially windy through the Northern Cape and the Free State, and this could lead to veld fires. Uppington down to a warm 20 degrees overnight, Cape Town down to 16, Gqeberha 18, Durban dropping to 22 this evening, Johannesburg and Pretoria both down to 14 degrees, but warming up tomorrow to a maximum of 30 degrees through a Friday afternoon. 27 for Richards Bay and Durban, Gqeberha up to 24, Cape Town 25 tomorrow, and Uppington up to a maximum of 36 degrees through the middle of the day. That's it from me. Take care. Have a good evening.
And that is how we wrap up this evening in a nutshell. Thank you for choosing Prime News on SABC3. We will be back with more updates tomorrow evening. But until then, from myself, Becky, and the team, stay ahead of the curve. Good night.